What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and I was just hunting around for videos and something popped up here. This article from comicbook.com, and it references an interview that J.J. Abrams did on a podcast with BBC. And, the funny thing is, after J.J. Abrams, about a month ago in the lead up to Rise of Skywalker, he mentioned the name Fandom Menace. And that kind of set the world on fire. It justified so much of what we'd been talking about. The fact that people at Lucasfilm know what the Fandom Menace is. We're not just some small group that no one cares about, that no one's heard about. And then when Rise of Skywalker comes out, you can see clearly some of the choices that were made in this movie were made because of things that the Fandom Menace has talked about. It's very obvious. But that gets brought up again in this interview by the BBC. So let's just get into it here so I can let you guys hear for yourselves. And before we get too into it, I will just say some spoilers ahead that we will be discussing for Rise of Skywalker. Star Wars director J.J. Abrams made the Rise of Skywalker knowing it would be divisive and controversial. All right. Director J.J. Abrams went into production Star Wars Rise of Skywalker knowing it would be divisive and controversial no matter what choices were made during the making of the episodic saga's final chapter. Abrams, who previously defended Star Wars Enthusiast, which I think he did yesterday or day before, something like that, he previously defended Star Wars Enthusiasts when he said fans of this franchise shouldn't be looked at as an adversary. But he admits he wasn't worried about fan reaction, because he expected a mix of opinions, all equally valid, to swirl around the Rise of Skywalker. And you can't please everyone. Which is true, and we hear JJ say this a lot in a lot of interviews. You can't please everyone. But everything, Abrams told BBC Radio 5 when asked to identify the part that he lost sleep over. The logistics of shooting the set pieces, because the scope of the picture is pretty huge. How we were going to do any of it was enormous. Obviously, the narrative film, what we were doing, what we were going to do. Because no matter what we did, we knew it was going to be divisive and controversial. And, I suppose that is true. However, they took a very middle ground approach. They tried, despite him saying that they can't please everyone, in the end, they did try to in a way. And I think that's one of the reasons that, you have some people that hate the film because they retcon Last Jedi. Some people that dislike the film for all the other choices they went to go with it because they packed so much story into it to try to retcon Last Jedi. And you just ended up with a lot of people who are upset with it. Asked if he was worried about Skywalker proving divisive, Abrams, so I wasn't worried about it. We knew at the very beginning, before it even started, there was given no matter what choice we made, it was going to upset some fans and there would be factions. When host Simon Mayo cited, quote unquote, the Fandom Menace, there it is, because JJ, you brought it up about a month ago, Abrams noted it's not necessarily even any one group, anyone. He stays very clear to make sure this time that he doesn't specifically call out the Fandom Menace. But I think when you look at the reaction to this movie and you see the TLJ gang on Twitter, you see the Raylos on Twitter, on how upset they are with everything, I think Abrams is right. It's not just the Fandom Menace that they had to worry about this being divisive to. And then here, someone just asked me, did you go trying to please everyone? And I said, not that I would want that to be the case, that shouldn't be the approach, but how would you do that? What is the way to please everyone? There's no fan that represents all the fans. I agree. Everyone has their own opinion, and whether or not you're part of a group or not, everyone is right. Everyone has their opinion. Interesting. He's very much shifted to this tone, this everybody has an opinion and it should be respected kind of thing, which for everything that I've said about J.J. Abrams, and I do think he's kind of a hack filmmaker. I made a video earlier today about how he copied so much of the plot of this directly from an expanded universe comic. But it's good to hear him say that. Whether this is just voice or whether he's just doing lip service to fans because he knows the reaction he'll get from a lot of people if he goes after them. Whatever the reason is, he is saying the right things. Abrams is referencing a Skywalker showing and panel during which the filmmaker addressed negative reviews to the film, where he said praise or criticism surrounding Skywalker are both correct. Do I wish, and this is beyond Star Wars issue, that opinion didn't immediately go to outrage, didn't immediately go to attacking and cruelty? I think the sort of MO at the moment seems to be that people go on these crazy, hyperbolic, and often cruel states to defend their politics, their nationality, their race, their sexual preference, the films they love. Now he's getting a little off the script here. It's like you're not making a statement if you're not doing it in a vitriolic way, and I think that's just unfortunate. And I do think that may be the nature of social media in general, specifically Twitter. When you're limited to so many characters, you kind of do have to make a vitriolic statement to get attention. So I maybe see where he's coming there a little bit. Star Wars is part of all that, but we approach the story hopefully from the inside out, hoping it would affect people and knowing that some people would love it and some wouldn't. And, it's interesting he says that. J.J. Abrams, who also, if you're a fan of Star Trek, which I'm not a big fan, I do have some friends who are that went through the J.J. Abrams debacle. He gave an interview a little bit before that first movie came out that he did, and he basically said, this film's not going to please everyone. He said, I might piss off some hardcore fans because he's basically said we're going after the normie crowd. And yeah, I do think that maybe that's not the best way to approach it. You want a movie that can appeal to everyone, but if you're going after the quote unquote normie crowd and abandoning your hardcore fans, those are the ones that are going to stay loyal to you through thick and thin if you do service to them. And if you honor them and also play to the normie crowd, I think that's the best way to get it done. However, with Rise of Skywalker, what we saw was he was trying to appease everyone. Despite what he's saying, that's what he was trying to do. And it just didn't work. You see all these Last Jedi retcons. You see the fact that Luke catches the lightsaber. You see that Finn and Poe have no interest whatsoever. Well, not Finn and Poe. God, subliminal thought there. Freudian slip. But when you see Finn and Rose, and you think they're going to have some moment, and Finn just kind of pats her on the back, says, oh, hey there, friend. She's immediately friend zone. When they go through in Last Jedi and, Kylo says, your parents were nobody. But in this one he said, well, I didn't say your parents were nobody, or, I just said they chose to be nobodies. When that's not true. Come on, we know that's not true because of all those things. Like that he also said, in addition they were nobodies, he basically said that they sold her into slavery, or that they sold her for money, basically. That they were trash human beings. It's not true. In this movie, they die for her. Oh, and spoiler alert, I guess I'll cut this in and put it earlier in the video, so you don't get spoiled if you don't want to be. There's so much in this. The Holdo maneuver. Oh, that's a 1 in a million chance. So many clear retcons of Last Jedi to satisfy the people that were upset with it. The Fandom Menace. There's no way that wasn't a thought going into this movie. When we heard about the reshoots at the end of this movie and the way this movie ends is also to appease, I think, the Fandom Menace. Because originally what the leaks were, and I believe all the leaks from Jedi Praxis because they were all spot freaking on. They're more detailed than the movie itself. In those leaks, they say that basically in the first version, Rey just beats down Palpatine while Ben just flies up the thing, never to be seen from again. In the reshoots that they were doing, later in the year before the movie came out, because of the reaction to that and what they thought people would think of Rey just stomping on the most evil villain ever lived in the galaxy. Not that this one was too much better, and for the last person of Skywalker blood to just die, they knew that people would freak out. So what did they do? They let Ben come back and live and give his life to save Rey, who had just died. Look, guys, she's not a Mary Sue, right? She did training earlier. She struggled all through this film, right, guys? This is the struggle you wanted. Look, she died. She can't be a Mary Sue. So it's things like that that I think were clearly made to pander to this group, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough because you ruined other people's legacy. You shit on the prequels, you shit on the OT, and you shit on The Force Awakens and Last Jedi. You did everything. You tried to do some things, and you gotta give JJ credit for that. But in the end, I think it was just a complete shit show. But I just wanted to let you guys know that J.J. Abrams is being asked about the Fandom Menace again, and I think it should be, because it's clear that as much as he wants to say he can't please everyone, he did try. But what do you guys think of this interview? What do you think about J.J. being asked about the Fandom Menace again? Do you think that they listened to the Fandom Menace, or other people that were just critical of maybe similar things, even if they don't say that they're Fandom Menace? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you guys later. thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.